If you're anything like me, chances are you're constantly low on storage on your MacBook because you can't justify the absolutely insane prices that Apple charges for their SSDs. With apps now running into the multiple gigabytes, 4K video taking up about 2 gigabytes per minute, that 512 gigabyte base SSD that you get in the MacBook Pro disappears into thin air really quickly. And even in the latest generation MacBook Pros, the base storage is still 512 gigabytes and it costs an astonishing $600 or pounds extra to get the 2 terabyte option. And in case you don't know, you can buy a 2 terabyte pretty fast external SSD drive for about $150, pounds or euros. But what do you do if you're on the go a lot? You have this cable dangling off your MacBook with an SSD attached to it, which might contain some pretty precious data. I've been having this problem for a while now with my old M1 MacBook Pro, so I spent a bunch of time trying to figure out what to do, and I came across this product. This is the TeraBiter Halo by Byron 7. It's a magnetic ring with a sticky side on one end that attaches to the back of your MacBook screen, and then that pairs with a magnetic sleeve that wraps around your SSD. Just to be clear, this is not an ad, I have no affiliation with this company. I just found this product online to solve my own problem and paid my own money for it. In the box, you get 2 magnetic rings that you can attach to the back of 2 devices if you want, and a magnetic sleeve with a Velcro strap that goes through the sleeve that attaches it to your SSD. You get different sizes of Velcro straps, so it's compatible with pretty much any drive out there on the market, and you don't actually have to use it for an SSD. If you have something else that you want to put on the back of your MacBook, you can do that as well. Once you've attached everything, which was a little bit tricky to figure out because it doesn't come with any instructions in the box, and there's not that much going on their website either, but I figured it out within a few minutes. It attaches pretty securely, you don't have to worry about it falling off on its own. It's also MagSafe compatible, so if you own an iPhone with a USB-C port, you can go from shooting videos directly onto the SSD and then attaching that straight to your MacBook and editing it off that SSD using the same system. Now, before you ask, magnets on my hard drive, is that safe? Well, I was worried about that too, so I did some digging, and I think the answer is it's pretty safe. SSDs aren't magnetic storage, they store data electrically, so unlike old hard drives which could be corrupted just by having a magnet close by, SSDs aren't affected by magnetic fields. The only risk I could find is that the magnet could potentially induce some small amount of current in the hard drive, but in practice this doesn't seem to be an issue and I have never had a problem with it myself. But if there ever was a time to remind you to always back up your data, this is probably a good time to do so. So what are the caveats, if any, of attaching an SSD to your MacBook in this way? Just before we get into that, I would really appreciate it if you'd liked the video so far to just hit that like button, and if you'd like to support me in making similar content, then do consider subscribing to my channel as well. Okay, so I would say that as far as attaching an SSD to the back of your MacBook screen goes, the TeraBiter Halo does that job pretty admirably. The magnet is strong enough, the Velcro around the SSD is secure, it supports basically any SSD on the market, and the footprint on your laptop is also pretty small. But there is still one issue that you should be aware of, and that is the cable connecting your MacBook to the SSD. It is survivable, but it's not exactly elegant. Now, Byron 7 actually sells this elbow USB-C cable with a 90-degree angle at the connector to your MacBook. Unfortunately though, the cable did not work for me at all. The elbow cable sticks straight up instead of out, so in theory you should have less cable sticking out. In practice though, the extreme angles that this requires puts a lot of strain on the USB-C connectors, and mine actually started to bend at the connector end on the MacBook before I could even attach everything. You need to be able to have the lid both open and closed, which is a 90-degree difference that the cable has to be able to deal with. So let me know in the comments below if you have seen a cable that's better suited for this use case. I would love to try it. So are there any alternatives to doing this? Well, there are definitely a few other products by other companies out there that help you attach an SSD to the back of your MacBook in some way, shape or form. Byron 7 actually has one with suction cups. So if you prefer not having to stick something on the back of your MacBook, for example, that might actually be a better option for you. So I will put a few of these products up on the screen and also link to all of them down in the description below. But as far as I can tell, pretty much all of these products share the same problem with the cable sticking out. And while I haven't tried them, I can't see how they would do a much better job than the TeraBiter Halo. There's one interesting option I came across, which is the Lexar Portable Go SSD drive. And this one actually plugs directly into your MacBook. It's got the USB-C connector attached to the drive itself, so there's no cable in the way. The main problem with this drive for me was that it's a lot more expensive per terabyte than some of the other SSDs you can get. And having a USB-C connector attached directly to my SSD drive does give me the shivers a little bit, because there's that risk of damaging the connector and then permanently losing access to your data. If you have any experience with this drive, do drop me a comment below, and maybe I will make it my next SSD purchase when I fill up my current 2 terabyte drive. And that's it for this video. If you stayed till the very end and if you're still watching, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button to help me make more content like this in the future. Thank you, and I will see you in the next one.